It is 8 p.m. on a Saturday. So naturally, a giant Chinese model maker has dropped a huge open model that is crazy capable and is actually on par with Sonnet 4.6 on basically all benchmarks and within a couple points of Opus 4.6. The model that I'm talking about is the MiniMax M 2.7. It just dropped basically 2 hours ago. There is a lot to talk about though, so I'm just going to give the crash course. For those of you who don't know me or haven't seen this channel before, my name's Timothy Karambat. I'm the founder of Anything LLM. It's an all-in-one desktop app that brings you this kind of Claude Code and ChatGPT-like experience, but without any of the confusing setup or token costs, because we do everything locally. So when local models drop, I get excited because any local model or any model that you can run outside of a massive cloud is always a good thing. Even today, I believe that you can take a small local model, run it on your machine, and have a cloud-like experience. That's what I do, that's what I believe in, that's what I build. Now let's get to the video. MiniMax is a Chinese company, much like, Qwen or any of the other popular kind of like open source models that are out there that are super capable. They've been around for a while. This is not a small company. This is a huge company. I think they're valued at something like $2 billion, and they're listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange and all that. So this is like not like some people, rubbing nickels together to make a model. They've consistently delivered, and the only downside is that these models are always crazy huge. You are not going to be running this on your regular consumer laptop. But if you can run this, this might just be the thing you need to basically get rid of token costs. And so, yeah, a couple hours ago on HuggingFace, one of the main devs just dropped the link, just said, hey, here's the model. It was rumored to come out this weekend. People didn't know where. And there's a bunch of people on this same thread complaining about where is it? Where is it? It's like, just relax, okay? The model's only 230 billion parameters. It probably takes a while to upload, I guess. And that is kind of a thing that you're going to find. What we're going to talk about is a super capable model. I mean, extremely capable. However, it is maybe out of reach for a lot of people, but there is always a silver lining to stuff, and so we'll talk about that. So before getting in how you could even possibly run this, where to look, all that other stuff, let's just talk about what they did, because that's honestly where the cool stuff is. M 2.7 is an improvement on the previous version, M 2.5. So basically, you can expect them to be around the same size and have the same kind of requirements. You would just expect M 2.7 to be a little bit more intelligent. And the reason for that is this model has a different goal than its predecessor. If you look at the highlighted line, they say M 2.7 is our first model to deeply participate in its own evolution. What they mean by that, it sounds very fancy. It is not that fancy. The entire idea is having M 2.7 build the tools and the things that it needs to do a job. You are already familiar with this concept. If you use a tool like OpenClaw or Claude Code, you are familiar with asking for something and it may be building a tool or writing a script to do something. That is what this model is aiming to do and to be trained on specifically to succeed at. So ideally, if you can run this, you can legitimately break away from ever having to pay Claude or be rate limited or get randomly banned and all that other stuff. So if you can run this model, you can unlock that reality. And M 2.7 is free to download. It's open source. You and I, if you have the hardware, can run it. You're going to notice a lot. I'm going to say if you have the hardware. I'm going to talk a little bit about hardware at the end of this video. Now, just to give an idea, just so I can get out of the way, this is GDP val AA. That's not really important. The ones that people like to talk about are mostly like SWE-bench and a lot of that. And there's one also very interesting benchmark in here. This one right here, Claw bench. That is the MiniMax Claw bench. So basically what they did as part of this entire kind of evaluation is because MiniMax is basically obsessed with this specific model of seeing what they can do to rip Claude out of OpenClaw, they made their own evaluation set basically around tasks that you would do in OpenClaw and to see how they perform. Now, this is where you start to see the gaps between M 2.7 and Opus, but then also see M 2.7 perform at least Sonnet levels of the current Anthropic generation. And if you look at all of these metrics, frankly, if you don't know about some of these benchmarks, I'll link a video right now just so that you can kind of get a crash course on benchmarks. But you can see just from looking at bar graphs that M2.7 is definitely better than M2.5, and it is certainly capable as a sonnet replacement. Opus, you may find some rough edges. So in their report, they talk about, kind of like where MiniMax can function as an employee. Now, not probably in the direct sense that you would entrust them blindly with work, but in the sense that you could use them to augment your work. And so you can see that they talk about professional software engineering, which I think is a given. That is kind of Anthropic's main focus with the Claude models, is kind of just coding tasks, because that's just, a well-known problem set. And another area that they're talking about focusing on, and a lot of people know this, is knowledge workers. So general kind of like office tasks, people who spend their jobs in docs and PowerPoints and stuff like that. And there's videos in this blog, which I'll be linking in the description for you to look at the demos if you'd like to watch them. And you can see that the model here is still, it's performing, right? Now, this is not bad. Specifically, the benchmark that's being talked about here, which is for this kind of like general professional work situation, you can see that the MiniMax 2.7 is doing well. Now, it's doing better than Gemini 3.1 Pro, which in my opinion is a surprise, but it is not doing better than Sonnet, Opus, and GPT. This is one of the benchmarks where M2.7 is not surpassing Sonnet 4.6, but it is pretty close. I mean, within 7 percentage points. But also, the situation varies dramatically. Benchmarks often aren't a great reflection of the thing you specifically do. They're simply indicators of if it's worth your time. And it's very clear from this that M2.5 is not worth your time, but M2.7 is certainly worth a look at now. Lastly, one of the areas, and this one was the weirdest to me, was entertainment. And not even in the way that you would expect, like not even like generating like music, I guess, or like video or anything like that. It's actually for like emotional intelligence, basically character building. So they have like high emotional EQ and character consistency, which is great. So basically giving a persona to your model. Now, I'm not crazy about this, to be honest. I know the use case exists. I know there are people out there who want to have their own, I guess you would even say like Jarvis, right? That is fine. But there's also like a weird edge here to like AI psychosis and like online stuff. There's a whole video worth of information about this segment. And there's a really interesting demo where basically they have this character that is running, and this is powered by the MiniMax M2.7 model. And it's like this model is basically interacting with a Twitch chat. Every now and then it says something. It's just kind of odd. I don't know. I'm not crazy about this, but maybe you might be, and that's okay. That's totally fine. It's just a thing they did. I don't know. This is just bizarre to me. Okay, so we know we've got this MiniMax M2.7 model. What are the details of this thing? Like what's the stuff that it can do? Is it multimodal? How big is it? What's it going to take to even run it? Is it even human to run? So first, we're looking at basically 230 billion parameter model. Now, obviously that's crazy. And if you laughed at that and said, wow, and then looked at, your Lenovo ThinkPad and said, well, sorry, buddy, that's it. Well, don't be too sad. There is a silver lining to this. This is actually a MoE model, or mixture of experts. For those of you who have never heard of that term before, an MoE is basically running a small model in a big model. You still need crazy good hardware to load this 230 billion parameter model. But what it means is that when you ask a question, you will get the speeds of a smaller internal model, which around, in this instance, is about 10 billion parameter. And this is really good because you get the intelligence of a much bigger model by running the smaller models inside of it. MoEs are not perfect, but they are quite capable. And when we talk about the local domain and getting stuff done locally, sure, having stuff done in a dense model, which is a model that isn't an MoE, is always great. But there are limits, right? And so maybe in the future, like we found with stuff that's coming out with other areas of optimization, like 1-bit models and KV cache optimizations and all these things that make big models a lot smaller, Who knows what the future has? And it might not be crazy in the future for you to have a 230 billion parameter model running on your 64 gig laptop. Who knows? I'm not saying that that's around the corner. I'm just saying that there's a lot more juice to squeeze when it comes to open source. So don't be disheartened. This is as bad as the models will ever be. So when it comes to MOEs, you have to jump into the config JSON of the actual model files themselves to get really the kind of nuance, because for whatever reason, the technical side of things are really lacking in all of the written documentation about this model, likely because this is kind of an iteration. But for those of you who don't know about MiniMax, this may be the first time you've ever heard about the model, but there's a property that says number of experts per token. That's what that stands for. And it says 8. Well, okay, so 8 experts per token, all right, but out of how many? 256. So at any given time, when you send a chat, you are having 8 experts answer your query. It could be very different experts. All of the experts it's not so simple to explain experts really, but the idea is basically think of, instead of having just one really smart person to answer your question, you now have 256 really smart people in individual fields that can come together to answer your question. If you're wondering what the value of an MOE is, it's basically that. Now again, M2.7 is again an iterative jump on the MiniMax M2.5. So a lot of the same functionality remains. From the chat template, because this was not mentioned, this is a reasoning model. You can reason with this model, so you should get great answers. This is expected, but also there is no multimodal. Now we have about 200,000 tokens to play with, which is great for a context size, but it doesn't look like there's any image support, which frankly, I find myself using a lot. I like to send images and screenshots and stuff to my model, and I just feel like without multimodal, there's still kind of a blind spot for a model like this. If a lot of your stuff is text or can be put into text, then you should be fine. And this is still a fantastic model. I'm still waiting though for the kind of iterative jump for a multimodal of this size, of this nature, scoring this well. Now, if you want to run this model, that's where we kind of come up to a time-based thing. So right now, this model just dropped, and it takes a lot of time to come up with really good quantizations of this model. And like, for example, you may use tools like Anything LLM or LM Studio or Ollama, and those tools allow you to load the gguf files in Llama CPP and stuff like that. Whatever tool you use, those are usually the models people are downloading. You have to make those files. People have to make them. It takes a lot of time. So right now, you won't find quantizations, but probably within a couple days of this video dropping, there will be a lot. We can go to our good friends at Unsloth, who really provide a lot of these gguf files that people use in tools that you already probably use, like Llama CPP, Anything LLM, LM Studio, Ollama, whatever it is that you run. This is the file that you're usually looking for. To get an idea of what the file is probably going to look like, because this is very similar to the previous generation, we can of course just look at the MiniMax M2.5. So a lot of this, as you can see right here on this side of the screen, if you wanted to run this thing at its full kind of accuracy, basically very little accuracy loss, this is nearly 0.5 terabyte of storage. Now, if you are willing to go down to Q8, which I think if you're willing to run this at 16, you can probably go to Q8, it'll be only 261 gigabytes, only 261. Me personally, I'm probably going to have to find myself limited to, at best, the 2-bit quantization, maybe this Q2K or Q2KL, and you could go down to 1-bit, but I think the accuracy is going to suffer a lot. To get an idea of how much accuracy you're going to have by running a 1 or 2-bit version of this super large 230 billion parameter model, we can actually refer to a similar graph for the M2.5. Now, you can basically see that the red is the relative error. So obviously the original has no error. If you go to Q4, you start to get one. And if you go to Q4KXL, so like the larger version of Q4, it drops dramatically. But the real thing that's important is that this Q1 just is bad. Like, it is so bad that you almost might as well not run it. So if you can run a model of this size, if you have hardware that can do this, at least strive for Q2. And if you are laughing at me because you're sitting on like a server farm apparently and can run the Q8 or even the full parameter FP16, excellent. Congratulations. That's all I can say, really. In terms of just general information about MiniMax M2.7, there is one detail that could matter to you. It might not. And if you're looking to run a model like this locally to help you with your job or do tasks or as a replacement for Opus or Sonnet in your OpenClaw instance or anything like that, then there is a detail that you need to know about. And that is that the license for this model is actually quite different from its original predecessor. So the one thing that is very different that I think is gonna maybe be a sticking point for some people, especially when we talk about like productivity tasks and like knowledge worker tasks, like does using this model to help you do your job fall under commerciality? Because you cannot use this model commercially. I think the only angle they're looking for is basically people reselling the kind of model as a endpoint to others. I'm not exactly sure why they did this. The M2.5 model was broadly permissible. And it basically was just like, hey, if you use the model, whatever you do with it, just, redistribute this license kind of stuff. So a lot of people really liked M2.5 and were using it in tools to help replace their kind of like larger token cloud bills that they were using. I don't know how much this is going to hurt M2.7 from being adopted. I don't know. For people that are dealing with models like this, maybe it won't matter. Now, how do you even run this thing? So if you're looking at maybe running this at a Q2 quantization or Q1, so super compressed, super compressed, you're still probably going to need probably around like 100 gigs of space and maybe like 96 gigs of VRAM. This thing is still huge. So for those of you who went out and bought the biggest Mac Mini that you could, when OpenClaw was kind of like the talk of the town, you could actually run this model. And that's frankly kind of like where I think this model has succeeded a lot. It's from people who have bought those Mac Mini kind of unified memory 128 gig devices. But there are some other devices. Specifically, I have two. And so if you'd like to see some tests about this model, or maybe just me give an experiential kind of review about this model, I do have two things I can run it on. I don't know how well it'll work. So the first is I have this DGX Spark. Now, this thing is mostly for fine tuning. And the reason for that is actually because the DGX Spark has limited memory bandwidth. So basically, if you are looking to run super fast tokens, it's not really going to do that well. But with an MoE, you kind of don't have that problem. So I may be able to load it on this really big device, which I think I can get mostly loaded on, and then still get good TPS. Because if you put a small model on this thing, it's still plenty fast for me. I'm not a token snob. If I'm getting like 40, 50 tokens a second, I'm very happy. And the next is I actually recently acquired this is basically an AMD Strix Halo device. This has 128 gigabytes of unified memory, and I don't know how that one's going to work either. So I kind of have like a weird mix of devices that I could run this on. Like the DGX is Linux, and the HP that I just sent is that's Windows. So I don't know how this will all work, but if you're interested in at least me showing some stuff, maybe you have some prompts or examples that you'd like me to run just to kind of stress test it to see if it explodes, I'm happy to do that. Just leave a comment. But yeah, so that's basically it. MiniMax M2.7 is hot off the press. It is a behemoth as it was already, and it does look to be a serious kind of competitor for the kind of people who want to have an OpenClaw-like experience, but without the token anxiety of what it's going to cost you to do it, since now you can't use your Claude Code plan with tools like OpenClaw or really anything else anymore without getting banned. And the API costs are just not worth it. So a model like this couldn't have come at a better time. Anyway, that's it. See ya.